Alright, you guys, what is good? Back at it again. So I recently had the pleasure of being emailed by a company called Dehancer recently. This is a plugin company that is getting pretty popular. I see a lot of people utilizing this. So with that being said, let's get into it, and at the end of the video I'll show you guys some additional features. Alright you guys, so first things first, basically you want to do as you would normally do in Final Cut Pro. You just want to drag and drop this bad boy into the timeline. So we have Dehancer loaded up in the timeline. Basically, as you can see here, I've already given it a slight color grade, just a basic fix for now. And then once we go into Dehancer, what you can see is you have these input options, which are really important because depending on what you're shooting on and what you're shooting with, you can fine tune it to the point that you can literally go and choose camera, choose your vendor, choose what kind of camera you're using from that vendor, and then literally select your various film formats, which that gives you a very basic kind of color correction. These clips here were actually already shot in Rec 709, so I don't need to go in and do any of this. I basically just dropped it and already gave it a basic color grade, so there's really no need for that. And then beyond that, you have all of these, you got exposure, temp, tint, everything that you would normally have when it comes to giving it a basic grade and color correction. Again, you don't need to use these if you're already shooting in Rec 709. You can, but because I was already shooting in Rec 709 on my Z6, I basically just already color graded it in Final Cut Pro's color wheels, and then I just imported it as Rec 709 and then go from there. So the second big thing that I wanted to talk about is these different film stocks that they have, which is actually kind of coincidental because these are film stocks that I've actually used in real life already. So getting these in digital video is pretty exciting. Obviously you can't replicate it 100%, but it's cool to definitely have it. So if you look here, you have all of these. Some of these, Fuji Chrome, stuff like that. Kodak Portrait. These are things that a lot of us have already used. Right now I got Kodak Vision 3 500 loaded up, so if you enable that, you see how it kind of flattens it out a little bit. And then you got your contrast, push pulls, as you can see here. This is really nice. I love this. There's like a million different variations in here. I think there's definitely a few dozen. I don't know if in future updates they'll add more, but I'm really stoked on this because this just continues to just add more options to grade. And a lot of these just look really cool. So the third big thing for me is film grain. This is pretty obvious. I feel like this may actually be the most transformative thing when it comes to replicating film and trying to get that look. But as you can see here, as soon as I enable this, it just gives grain. I mean, yeah, you can see there, like, it's an immediate, very solid grain look. You can change the size, amount, film resolution, and then the fact too that like you can go in and add grain to the highlights, the midtones, and the shadows. That's something that in other softwares I've never seen before. So that's super cool to be able to really fine tune it like that. But then you also have film types, mode, and then you can simply just turn it on and off if you wish. So the fourth thing is halation. I can't really get too much into the technical details of this, as I honestly am not really aware, but I think it's something about how like the light hits the back of the film and it causes this kind of red glow on the outskirts of like highlights and various objects. But in Dehancer, they give you the option to use halation. As you can see, you have quite a number of features, so we'll enable it here. Right off the rip, you can see that it adds this, kind of red glow to the video. And then another cool thing is this mask mode right here. This actually allows you to fine-tune everything. So as you can see, you can amplify it. You can see, you can check your limiter, you can check your local and global diffusion. I mean, it really allows you to fine-tune it and really dial in exactly what you want and see in vivid detail what you want. I love this. This is probably, besides grain, the number 2 effect that I use to make things look like film. Highly recommend using this, and I'm super stoked that they give you all these options to utilize. I definitely think that this is something that you can just continue to build on, and I hope they continue to fine-tune this. Alright, so the 5th and final thing that I wanted to talk about is the bloom feature. This is something that in the photo industry especially is extremely popular right now. You got a bunch of different blooming filters. Blooming is pretty much relevant to highlights, where it kind of just like declarifies the highlights and kind of makes them bloom. There is pro mist filters. I think, what other brands are there? There might be there's actually a ton of different ones on Amazon, but you can now do this in video, and they have all these options right here where you can go in, again, same as halation, you can enable it, and then mask mode, where it basically, as you can see here, all these white spots are basically where it's blooming at. You can amplify it, add more, add less. I feel like if you overdo it, it looks super dreamy and kind of corny looking, but if you add like a touch of bloom, I definitely think it adds a nice little effect to the video for sure. After this, these other features, you got vignette, film breath, which is essentially, from my experience, is kind of flickering. That's at least what it looks like to me. Gate weave, monitor output, you can generate LUTs from this. Super nice that they included that as well. But there's a bunch of different features that they also added into this, but I just wanted to go over the core ones that I utilize. So with all the great things that Dehancer has provided in this Final Cut Pro plugin, there is one downside that I have encountered. Fortunately for me, they allow me to test this for free, but if you do consider purchasing this, it is quite expensive. So as you see here, it's currently saying that it's available for $3.99. It's $4.49 at regular price, which that's more than Final Cut Pro. I mean, I think Final Cut Pro is what, like $300 to buy it for the lifetime. So this plugin is actually more than the program itself, so that's definitely expensive. Now they have light versions. You can buy just the grain, just the bloom. I mean, you can buy the various aspects that are important to you, but for me, by the time I want the grain, the halation, and other things, I might as well just buy the full copy. So I would end up spending the $400, which that's a lot of money. So that's definitely the one downside, the fact that you're paying more than you probably paid for the actual program that it's plugging into. But this program and this plugin is, I mean, it's a great combo. I definitely recommend it if you can afford it. Alright, you guys, so with that all being said, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Do you own this already? If you do, what are your thoughts from your point of view? With that being said as well, I also have a discount code below. I'll include that in the description. Utilize that if you want to test this out and you want to buy it. They also give you a trial as well, which is really nice. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.